starting point to establish their state and to be privileged must know that Palestine will be their grave. And in this case, I can assure you that Zionism will end one day or another, because it is a matter of generation, not a matter of this generation only. There is no guarantee that Israel will guarantee its force and powerfulness for hundreds of years and for generations. And there is no guarantee that the Muslims will continue to be weak and disunited. One day, the Muslims will be stronger and the Israelis will be weaker. For the last 61 years, this is another important point about ending Zionism. For the last 61 years, from the establishment of Israel, the Zionist state, 1948, the Israelis tried all the kind of ways, massacring the Palestinians, suppressing them, humiliating them, displacing them. But what happened? Palestinians never gave up. And in every time, they show that the Israelis that they are still willing to continue jihad and continue fighting in the way of Allah, and returning the Israelis to the very first quarter from the very beginning and saying to them, no, you did not manage to kill our spirit, because our spirit is from Islam and from Quran and from Sunnah, and this spirit can't and never die. That's why in Herzliya conference, this is an annual conference by the Israelis with the best elite they have, political leaders, security and military commanders will gather and discuss. In the Herzliya meeting, they declared that Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and Islamic resistance is a strategic threat on them. Why? Because the kind of people who are fighting them is a different kind of people. Also, they talk about another strategic threat. They said the rise of Islam and the rise of Islamic movements who are willing to help the Palestinians and are ready to sacrifice is another strategic threat to Israel. And they are very much afraid that the weak, feeble, disunited Arab regimes in the area will not continue, and they will be replaced by such Muslims who are ready to fight the Israelis. They are considering this as a second strategic threat, and they are doing their best to avoid it. Another threat they are talking about is the existence, the very existence of Palestinians inside historical Palestine. This is a third one. After 100 years of the Zionist program in Palestine and 61 years of the Zionist state in Palestine, when you talk about the figures of the Jews and Palestinians inside Palestine, it is amazing. Although we have 5,400,000 Palestinians living outside Palestine, but yet still we have more than 5 million Palestinians inside historical Palestine. And they are growing fastly in numbers, even under the Israeli occupation. In Gaza Strip, under the very difficult situation there and oppression and siege, we have the highest growing number in the world, increased by annual growing numbers in the world. This is in Gaza Strip. So this is amazing. The Israelis talk about this and said, oh, after 100 years, we displaced the Palestinians, we massacred them. But the Israelis are expecting by 2010 or till 2012 that the Palestinians inside Palestine, occupied Palestine, will outnumber the Jews, inshallah. So, in the land occupied in 1948, which is called Israel, in West Bank and Gaza Strip, if you gather the whole numbers of Palestinians, compare it with the Jews, the difference will be 100,000 or 200,000 also. The Palestinians, inshallah, will fill the gap within 2 to 5 years, inshallah. So Zionism also, inshallah, will be there, and the Israelis failed to give this area their Jewish identity. Allah forbid, inshallah. Another point by our Indian the Zionism. The Israeli army. The state of so-called Israel is very much dependent on security and army. They have an army of 176,000 soldiers, but it can mobilize an army of 700,000, when they call the others, within 72 hours. The Israeli army is designed to defeat all Arab countries in any war, not only one Arab country. They have 200 atomic bombs. They have the best jet fighters in the world. And they have all kinds of training for their military because they are supported by USA. It's being supported by USA. However, they have their own problems. 3 years ago, they failed in South Lebanon. They were defeated by Hezbollah. A few months ago, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were defeated by your brothers in Gaza. They failed in occupying Gaza. They were humiliated by the Mujahideen in Gaza, even with very simple weapons. The bombs which were Gaza Strip equal more than what was dropped in Hiroshima, the power of the atomic bomb, or what was dropped on London for 4 years. Yet the Palestinians gave the Israelis a big lesson how to fight. The Israelis army for 22 days were slapping or walking around itself and never managed to occupy the area. So the Israelis were very much confused. We have the strongest, but what happened? They forgot one thing. Our Palestinian brothers are producing a great generation of mujahideen, but the quality of the Israelis themselves is being degraded, changed. Young Israelis are now entertainment lovers. With this globalization, they want to entertain themselves. They are not willing to fight. So even they are very well prepared, but yet they are frightened. They are cowards. They are not in a position to fight. Even they have jet fighters, they have tanks, and so on. Some of the amazing news which we have come along or come across with it is that some tanks, or the tanks which entered the Gaza Strip, the Israelis were very much frightened to go out from their own tanks, because the tank is like a castle. The strongest castle is the tank, a movable tank. The Israeli won. I will tell you one thing. One of the things which was told is that they did not like to go out. And even if someone wanted to go, here to toilet or to room, they even did it inside the tank. And even they used bumpers. And that's why when they left, when they withdraw from their camps or their areas, Palestinians found bumpers everywhere. So we are talking about quality, people. The quality of the Israeli soldier is never like before. After this intifada, the last intifada, Intifadatul Aqsa, with the fighting of the Palestinians, with their steadfastness, Many Israelis in the polls admitted that they will be willing to go out